Brian asked this, and it was on the TSI Engage, and I have not had a chance to get in there. Coach William and I and Coach Sherry have been swamped with all the last minute details of the workshop because we're put together mind maps, and we're teaching everything from mind maps, and then all of the mind maps will be there available to you with all the resources, the strategies, and the recordings. And so I think it's going to be an amazing way to do it. We have Coach William and I have taught for mind maps for a year now. And so it's been very successful. And then you can always go back to the mind maps where all the strategies and tactics are. And Brian said, I'd like to implement all of the strategies on the site, and so would everybody else. But for me, it's a cost prohibitive. It's really a time prohibitive, too. And in one of the audio sessions, I don't remember which one, Ken mentioned putting together a seminar for free and low-cost marketing. Right now, I'm trying to get email and direct mail campaigns, but if I had some free and low-cost alternatives to implement, I'd also feel like I could get where I am going faster. Okay. There's a lot of free and low-cost alternatives to extend your reach. Here's one I don't want you to use. Open houses on Sunday. Consumer open houses where you go out and, take a bottle of water and an apple and try to talk to real estate agents and build a relationship while they're there. I'm not saying that can't be effective, but I'm saying that's high energy, low yield. So that takes a lot of time for a little bang. Now, here's where I would use that strategy. If you were brand new in the business and you really hadn't talked to any real estate agents, and you could go out and say, hey, I'm Ken, I'm a new inspector in the area, and I'm not hitting you up for business. Please know that. Oh, by the way, I got a couple of chocolate chip cookies for you and a bottle of water. It's probably boring sitting out here, and you might not have had any snacks. But if you wouldn't mind, I'd just like to pick your brain for a minute. Because when I started Southern Home Inspection Services in 1997, I spent all of 1996, not all, but 7 months of it, really understanding the market, doing focus groups with real estate agents, understanding if they could wave the magic wand, what would they like their home inspector to look like? What were the things they liked and didn't like? And from that, all that 7 months worth of market research, you know what I did? I wrote direct mail pieces that appealed to them. And they were so appealing, we did over 567,000 and change in year one. Okay, because I did market research and I understood their pain points. All right, so when we do problem, agitate, solve, I already knew it. Listen, I'm not that smart. You know how I knew it, William? I asked them. Okay, so that's how I knew it. And then, of course, we've taught that ever since. So I would use those open houses as a learning thing if you're brand new. If you're not brand new, don't fool with it. You talk to real estate agents, you know what their pain points are, don't fool with that. Okay, I'll tell you one, a slide dial is free, William.
Yeah, slide dial is an easy, quick way. Email is typically, I don't know what stage Brian is at, but there are several other low-cost ways to get that out. Social posts.
Social media for sure.
One thing that we really get a big bang out of is when we do the inspection, we send them a link to fill out a survey, and one of the questions that we have in there is, tell us about your experience with a real estate agent. And anything that's positive, we'll post a picture of that house and give what the client had to say about us, and then the positive review that they gave about the agent, and then say, hey, to contact Sally Sells a Lot and see all of her listings, click here, and text it to their listing page. We get a ton. I mean, agents love that. I get agents that call me and use me and then when they call the book, they're like, can you please post for me like you post for Sally Sells a Lot. So it's a strong way to they see the value in that.
Right. I'm just not a big fan of email marketing for lead generation. I'm a big fan for information marketing with the home inspection tip of the month and the realtor marketing tips. If you're running those in the newsletter, I think what happens is you're really providing quality content to your target audience, something that's helpful to them, and it moves your relationship from vendor to consultant, even though you didn't write the realtor marketing tips. To me, if you're going to email, that's a free strategy. But you're going to need to do some permission-based. You're going to have to offer, say, here's what I'm doing, here's why. If you choose not to accept the offer, just unsubscribe here. And then we have to get into list segmentation. But that's a free strategy that absolutely works. But William, let's drill down here for a minute. You and I have both known, we've had this question a lot of time, and we have already talked about this, but I think the two most important strategies for home inspectors when you're new is direct mail, number one, okay, and then setting up one office, using the strategies on the site and building relationships there and drilling down. Now, what say you on that?
Oh, I agree. I'd like to implement every strategy on the site too. It's not cost prohibitive for me. It's just like drinking out of a fire hose and impossible.
Right,
So,
right. You
so
get a
you
perfect
have to
size.
choose. You have to choose what's going to work best for you and what strategy. I agree. I always said, and we continue today. It's a strong staple for us that direct mail is where it's at. And if you can even make it cheaper if you've got relationships in those offices, and you can, if you're going to do them in the offices where you can stick these direct mail pieces right into their mailboxes, then you save the envelope and stamp as well. Again, the thing to be careful about there is how often are they in there, because as we know, that's less and less. But there are still agents that come in. They come in sometime or another. So how much of that you do, it will impact that. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of cheap, easier ways, to get yourself out there. Again, social media and direct mail, I would think would be, direct mail is going to have some cost to it, but man, it's so affordable for the return.
Right. And you know what happens is, and this is a very important thing. You can't be in the home inspection business with no money. Okay. It just doesn't work. You'll fail. Okay. So what happens is, if I was going to focus the resources I had, whether they were limited or unlimited, I'd want to get the biggest positive return on investment available. Okay. So I would select one office using the target criteria. And Brian, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly where you are in a business cycle. Whether you're brand new or whether you've been in there 6 or 8 or 10 months or whatever. But if it was me and I was starting over, I would select one home inspection. One real estate office that met the criteria on the Savvy site, and I would do my market research on them. How many units do their agents sell a year? Do they do more listings? Do they more sales? Do they market to the affluent? Can I get in the back? Do they earn 100% commission? The list goes on, and that's all on the Savvy website. I would find me one office, and I would drill deep using the strategies on the Savvy side. But before I ever stepped foot in the office, I would run a 4-card campaign or a 3-card campaign into the office that shared what's in it for the agents by using my firm. Okay, so when I landed in the firm, they already know all about my company and about me. So then the conversation isn't about me, it's about them. And I would start learning them. And then what happens is, once I learned them, I would start building upon those relationships in one office. I would I shouldn't say exploit, that's a bad word, really. I would take advantage of every opportunity afforded me in that office, whether it be birthday parties, whether it be charity events, sales meetings, all of the things they have. I'd find out what they had, okay? And I would say, okay, I'm going to take the limited resources that I have, and I'm going to focus on this one office, okay? Because good friends of ours, and Brian, you may or may not know him, but certainly William is good friends with him as well, Chris and Katie Goggins. A few years ago, they came to a workshop. They came to everyone we had, and they sold their business to Brian Murphy now. But they came to a workshop, and I said to Chris, I would rather you and Katie be a big fish in a small pond instead of a small fish in a big pond. They were marketing all of the Metroplex there in Dallas, Fort Worth. And what happens, they were spending a lot of money and not getting a positive return. So they went back home, and they identified a handful of offices, 4 or 5, and they said, we're gonna really put a full court press on there. And they grew their business from there. They jettisoned all of that other marketing they did all across the Metroplex, focused on these. And sometimes Katie would be in the office 2 hours. She'd be talking with the agents, working with them, just like Kayla does. I noticed Kayla's doing some pretty innovative and unique things, and that happens. But one of the things that happens, William, and this happened to you, and I'm sure it happened to most everybody else, you started off going in there and building some relationships, but you had a couple of offices and then more offices, and then more demands got put on your time. So you really turned out to be a flyer distributor and a chocolate peddler instead of a relationship builder, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it got to where I couldn't, I had to get in there and get out to get to the next place, because I just had my plate full and just spinning my wheels. And then when that first started happening to me, I could hear Ken's little voice in the back of my head. You are not to deliver. You're not a chocolate. You don't own stock in Hershey's. You're not here to deliver chocolate.
Right.
Like, I might as well just go buy stock, because I'm not getting any time to market. So yeah, I just had to do that.
So this is why I encourage our newer home inspectors to select one office. Cultivate those agents, use those strategies that we're talking about. And then what happens is, after you've gotten 60 or 70% market share in there and you still need more business, it would be time to take office 2. But what most home inspectors do is they'll take 10 offices right away. Well, if 10 people in each office gave you one piece of business a month, now you're turning away business. Okay, and what you find yourself is running to 5 or 10 offices, and you become a candy peddler and a flyer distributor, but you're not a relationship builder. And that's what this is about, building relationships. My goal when I went in and called on offices, and I did it for years, it was to turn those acquaintances into friends. And if I could have turned those acquaintances into friends, then it changed the dynamics of the referral business. They'd say, hey, we got 3 people on the list, and certainly feel free to use anybody you want. But if it was me, I'd use old Ken at Southern Home because he inspected my mom's home and my own personal home or whatever her pitch is. And again, feel free to use anybody you want. But again, if it was me, I'd use Southern Home. And then they call up and they're not asking you how much it is. They're just saying, I need to be booked next Tuesday at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Okay, so don't go too far. Okay, so direct mail warms them up. Direct mail keeps your message in front of them. And then what happens, you go in and become a relationship builder and turn those acquaintances into friends. And pretty soon that office is yours to lose. Now, you want to expand, William, don't you? Because if somebody got mad in there, ask Tony Burke, somebody got mad in there and then spread the word through the office, and that can be a poison pill for you. So you would never want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely. But I would, one thing we're talking about direct mail, I had BJ Lang messaged me last night with some questions about kind of along the same lines. And so we got to talking about the endorsement campaigns and send out cards. And, I don't know where you're at with this, Brian, but, if you can get a kind word from a top producer out of one of those offices and then, inundate that office with that send out cards campaign using that endorsement, that is some pretty strong stuff. James Brantley's had some really good results with that. I personally have had good results with that. We've broken the Louisville market. That's completely the campaign that I used was endorsement campaigns and just knock the socks off of it. So if there is a little bit of an investment there, I know you say it will cost prohibitive, but if you can afford that, I just can't see you not getting your return on that investment.
Just a caveat, William, when I invented that strategy back in the day, I used the wrong endorser. The person that endorsed me was clearly a top producer, hugely top producer, but she wasn't an influencer, and actually others were jealous of her success. And so what happens, that campaign failed. So my caveat is find out in the office who are the influencers, okay, who the others like, who do others listen to. And you can learn that from the gatekeeper and other agents. And then what happens, use that person as an endorser. And ever since then, once I learned that the hard way, we had huge success. I mean, that's one of the ones I run every time at Southern Home. We would run the endorsement campaign. So the other thing, too, I would say, William, to follow up on that, let's say that agents used you a few times and they've said to you at the inspection, and man, William, we love certainty home inspections. You guys do a great job, regardless of which inspector I've used in the past. The consistency and quality is the same. I really do like you guys. So what happens is, after I heard that a couple of times, what I would say is, listen, Mary, I know that you haven't written this down and sent it to us. And then I would laugh and say, shame on you. And then I'd say, but what happens is I've heard what you've said. And what I'd like to do is this. And then I tell her about the endorsement card. And I said, what I'd really like to do is paraphrase what you've shared with me verbally. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to send it to you and you tweak it any way you want. And we'd like to use that in the endorsement card. What do you think? I said, it would really help me. And you know what they say? Ken, do it. Okay, so even if you haven't already received the kind words, ask for them.
I agree. And if you can get the broker, hats off to you. That was really powerful for me.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. So I think, Brian, I would focus whatever resources you have on a direct mail effectively, and then also on opening up one office. And again, what's the cost involved, William? Today I haven't bought chocolate in that quantity in a long time. But if you had one office and you filled it up weekly, what are you talking about, $12 a week?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I again, if you can't get in the back, that's not your office. I have rules. I would rather you market 100% commission office because 100% commission offices have agents with lead generation strategies in place. So they have sales each month and they have inspections to offer you. When you get into these split of commissions 50-50, those agents aren't as sophisticated from a lead generation standpoint. I'm not saying they're not nice, but their lead generation strategies are quite less. All right, Mr. Williams. Any other things for Brian before we go?
No, good question. When he's asking about a seminar for free, I'm not sure what he might be referring to there.
Well, it might be a homebuyer seminar. If you can team up with some real estate agents, that's a free strategy. I don't see as many homebuyer seminars going on right now. William, am I wrong? I mean,
Yeah, no, they're hot. We've done several here this summer. You know, the market's hot, and especially these lending institutes. I had actually, prior to this marketing firing up, was right on board with what you just said. We just wasted my time. You know, sometimes we would go to them, and you might have. I had one where there was one person that showed up, and they had 30 confirmations, and so that kept happening. Just really super low turnout. So I just kind of turned my nose up to it. But I had a partner vendor, a home warranty company that was sponsoring one and asked us if we would, help her. And like, okay, she helps us. So we jumped in there and had a great turnout. And the last several that we've done have been packed rooms. I mean, I'm just shocked. And beyond that, I mean, they're still good to do, even if you don't have a great turnout, because you can build those relationships with those other vendors. Typically, there's a home warranty company, there's a lender, there are several other vendors there as well that you can, build those relationships with that can help you when you get down the road and need a sponsor to help you sponsor whatever you're sponsoring. So I always try to look at the other advantages of doing that as well. But no, to answer the question, there's been some really, really good turnouts, and same way with open houses. I'm just like you said, I think they're a low end strategy to go after. But when the market's really hot like this, you have better turnouts. There's more people looking, and things are good. So
right. All good. All good. Okay. How about anybody else have any questions they want to ask Coach William and I? We have shared a lot of information, and while you're typing something in the chat box, if you have it, Rob said, how do we sign up for classes next week? Sorry if you already mentioned it. Okay, no problem. Here's what happens is we want you to look at the agenda and decide which live events or breakout sessions you want to see live. And then what happens, just go to that room, the room number's there, and just show up at the room number, and if there's a seat, great. Just take it. If not, have an alternative for that slot. So have your first choice and second choice. All of the presentations are dynamite. The speakers are fantastic. They're doing it, living it, teaching it. So you won't go wrong any which way. So just show up, and we have about, I want to say, Rob, around 40 seats, 35 to 40 seats in each one of the breakout sessions. Some of the sessions, Coach William and Sherry and I looked at and said, I think these will be pretty popular. So we had a few repeats, like home inspector training. Okay, so that was pretty popular. I've broken up on how to go direct to the public for business because I think that is such an important topic with the way the market's going, and I'll share with everybody at the workshop why I think that if you're not going direct to the public, you're missing out. But Rob, we already do done for you services for you. So is that the best use of your time? I think not. So you're going to the internet now and getting business from it every day without having to do it, which is smart. So I would probably select something else. So have a what you want to see, and then a backup for that time slot if there's no seats left there. We're doing 50-minute segments, so you'll have 10 minutes to get to the next class and make a phone call and stop at the restroom or whatever you need to do. So but just show up. There isn't a sign up. And this is the first time we've done breakout sessions. I'll be honest with you, Coach William was really high on this, and so that's why I've done it because he felt like it gave everybody a custom workshop experience. And after listening to his comments about it, I couldn't agree more with him. So I don't know if next time we'll have people sign up in advance or whatever. We'll just see what happens this time. But again, like Coach William already said, that you'll have access to all of the presentations, even if you didn't attend them live on the website for participants after we finish. Anything else, Coach William, you want to add on that?
Nope, good call.
Okay, so let's see if we got any more questions. Here's one. Yeah, so many great options. I'll tell you, when Coach William and I and Coach Sherry Beth, we were went over to North Carolina early in the spring to put the whole thing together. And when Coach William wanted to do the breakout sessions, we said, cool, and we started putting them out there. And then I said, gosh, if I was an inspector, I'd have a hard time choosing between these.
That's the idea.
So there were some good ones. Okay. Mine was last minute. Any thoughts on working in a very hot bidding war market? I guess home inspection is down 65% our market per Association Realtor Report. Does that mean that 65% of the people aren't getting a home inspection mark because they don't want that contingency in there and have to compete? I know, William, what are you seeing? When you see in a hot market like that?
I hear John was one that was telling us that it was affecting him a little. In our area, we just, thankfully, we don't experience those highs and lows. Not that we don't have, rises and falls, but it just doesn't go to one extreme to another. But I have heard where, there's multiple offers and they're waiving the home inspection to get their offer accepted. That's sad, but I understand that that's true.
Yeah, I see it too. I never saw it at that level. 65% of the individuals not getting a home inspection, or maybe home inspections are down to 65% of the clients. In other words, the reciprocal, is not getting inspections. But here's what happens, Mark. I would do this. If in a market like that, I would be out there selling listing agents on a pre-listing inspection, so that you don't have to worry about that contingency. You have a pre-listing inspection and you make it available to every person that has a bid on the house or wants to bid on the house. So that's off the table. Okay. And you reduce your liability, the whole thing. So I would try to sell pre-listing inspections or certified move-in ready. Because then they just pick it up, and if they like it, what they see, great. If they don't, oh, well, they bid on another property. What do you think, Coach William, on that?
I agree. And, and I think a lot of that too has to do with the agents. They control a lot of that to push somebody to do that or not. I can tell you one thing that's kind of strange in our area that I've had two top producers. Bart, that you're aware of, is one of them. And what he's been doing, because of we have, you say you got 4, 5, 6 buyers per listing. We had that for a minute. Now I wouldn't say 4, 5, or 6, but multiple offers, if you will. And so what Bart had started doing was you had to have your inspection done before they would even consider your offer. How about that? And so we show up to do an inspection. There'll be 2 other inspection companies there with us doing the inspection all at the same time.
I've had that. I had that one time, William. I showed up. There's like 9 inspectors, and heck, 8 of them I knew. And somebody said, "Oh, I forgot my this tool." I said, "Here's my bag right over there. Just go get it and use it." And that was crazy, insane. The seller had a 4 or 5 hour window where all the inspections had to be done in that 4 or 5 hour window.
That's right. That's what he's doing.
I was on the roof on one of my buddy's ladders. Did he get the ladder out?
Yeah, that's what Matt said. He just left his ladder in the attic for the next guy. So that's funny.
Exactly. Now, Mark says that there's 4 to 6 offers on his properties too, on the listing.
See, but that's not going to last, Mark. I mean, I think I think we're getting ready to. Hopefully not. I hope I'm wrong. But I think all the gurus are saying that this is going to come to an end.
I agree with you, and we're going to be talking about it at the workshop as well. But here's the good news. Coach William, you and I have turned more one-man shops into multi-inspectors during the recession and after the recession than we did before. Because one of the things that happens is those that, pardon my French, suck at marketing and have no marketing systems, they're going down. They're going to be working at Walmart or whatever's left. But that doesn't mean that you have to go down, because homes are going to be purchased during the recession. All right. And what happens is you just need to be the home inspector of choice. And we're going to work on every one of you starting at the workshop and through the 4th quarter to get your business recession proof. It's sad that these inspectors go out of business, but it's their own fault. It's their own fault. And I'll tell you, Coach William and I can't save you at the last minute. These things take a few minutes to put together and get these processes in place. And that's it. And I'm going to say something now, Coach William. I said to our mastermind group, and I want to say this in a way that you don't take it the wrong way. Okay. If you're doing non-top producer marketing now, and you're getting a positive ROI on that, I want you to keep doing it. Okay. But any new marketing dollars that you're going to spend, I only want those spent on top producers. Because in the recession, you know who's still going to have business? Those who have effective lead generation strategies, which means top producers. All right. So they fill that funnel every month so that leads drop out and turn into home inspections, sales for them at home inspections, or contracts for them at home inspections. Okay, so Mary down here has given me 3 in the last year, but she doesn't have effective lead generation strategy. Why do I want to spend any more money on Mary than I'm already spending and getting a positive ROI? I'm not. We have a client in Ohio, and what he's done, when he built his firm, he came to the workshop as soon as he got in the business. And he told me, Ken, after listening to what you're saying, I'm going to make my business going to be exclusively geared for top producers. So he used direct mail, and he said, I'm going to mail them until they tell me to quit or they use me. And now all of his firm is made with top producers, and he's a multi-inspector firm. Okay, so he understood that they had lead generation strategies in place. They kept the marketing funnel full, and then contracts dropped out, and so did home inspections. He gets it. I want you to get it. Now, I'm not saying abandon anything that's working currently. If you're getting a positive ROI currently on non-top producer marketing, keep doing it. But take new marketing dollars and put them into top producer marketing. What do you think, William? Am I wrong?
Absolutely. I just,
I'm wrong. You said absolutely.
Absolutely wrong. No, the only thing I would say with that is, just realize that if you are new coming in, that's a little tougher nut to crack, and you can't expect results bang right away, because those top producer people, you've heard us say it before, they've got somebody that they know, like, and trust. That's what keeps them where they're at. So you've got to be that second guy in line, or be able to out-market that person in some sort of way to get that business.
And you know what, William, here's the story. Most of your competitors are complete idiots from a marketing perspective. They're not doing it. Okay, now what happens, a lot of them are very nice people. So they have a relationship with a top producer, and we're going to show you how to do top producer direct mail, including lumpy mail, that doesn't insult their current inspector. Okay, because that's a big thing. If the top producer likes them, William, you got tons of top producers that love you guys. Okay, if somebody came in and insulted you in a direct mail piece, you would think you'd really be insulting the top producer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she chose you and she likes you. So if you're an idiot, she's an idiot for choosing you. Okay, so you have to market them. The words that you use and the way that you approach them has to be different than non-top producer. Non-top producers generally don't have that strong of a relationship with the home inspector because they don't have that many inspections. Okay, right. So it's easier to say they're complete idiots, or send them the bank bag that says we can help you go to the bank more often, and here's how. That kind of thing. So Travis Lee has become a partner vendor of the Savvy. He's the king of direct mail and lumpy mail. He's the go-to guy for Dan Kennedy, one of the most successful marketers in the world, and his coaching clients. So Travis, I'm excited about seeing him and learning some new things when we get there next week.